The history of what moves us at Rayonex actually began long before human beings were around, with an event that created our time and space, the Big Bang. It was precisely at that moment that our cosmos was given all the characteristics that subsequently made it suitable as the home of intelligent beings. Our universe is in constant resonance, ranging from large star clusters to the very tiniest elementary particles. Movement is everywhere. Not just any kind of chaotic movements, but vibrations in the widest array of manifestations. The human body is viewed as part of the whole. A conceptual approach which in many cultures all over the world has formed the basis of different healing methods for millennia. Thousands of years ago, it was recognized that relationships existed in the human body's equilibrium. For example, in traditional Chinese medicine, everything is interconnected and nothing can be considered in isolation. If everything, including our bodies, is composed at the smallest level of vibrations, it can easily be understood that corresponding repairs can also be performed by imparting vibrations. This also explains the effect of other methods, such as homeopathy, sound therapy, and many others. These considerations fascinated the engineer Paul Schmidt as early as 1976. This successful entrepreneur and visionary performed the initial studies with a frequency generator, a device with which frequencies can be applied to the body. Based on the knowledge that the body requires vibrations that are decatically adjusted for activization of specific regulation mechanisms, Paul Schmidt experimented at length on systems which can do precisely that. His observations ultimately led him to develop his own resonator, which was continually improved on and is now considered the special feature of our bioresonance devices. Furthermore, he discovered that disturbances in our body follow a pre-programmed course until they become physically apparent. The applications grew in numbers over the years as a result of increasingly professional and technical developments. For example, for mobile practices, for a home therapy application directed by the therapist, or also for use in the veterinary sector for horses, dogs, and cats. In addition, Bioresonance, according to Paul Schmidt, now serves as a development platform for energetically optimized products, or also for new energy-based methods such as Rayonex analysis and harmonization system, known in short as RAH. The oldest known and commonly accepted form of exogenous bioresonance, that is to say frequencies with external effect, is sunlight. When sunlight shines on our skin, it tans. The reason for this, however, is not the heat, but instead the ultraviolet portion of the sunlight, which corresponds to a sinusoidal high-frequency vibration. These frequencies are therefore capable of stimulating pigment formation in our skin. Consequently, a regulation system must exist in our skin that pigments the skin precisely at this frequency of sunlight. At the same time, the tanning action is only one effect initiated by sunlight. Another is the production of vitamin D, for example, which is required for bone formation. It is obvious that in addition to the quite narrow frequency band of sunlight, other frequencies exist which in turn initiate their own regulation mechanisms on humans, animals, and plants. This was a discovery that was to a greater extent further developed by Paul Schmidt. Resonance can, however, only occur in cases where objects with the same vibrational ability encounter each other. If, for instance, two same-size tuning forks are placed one in front of the other and the first is stimulated by an impulse, it will be capable of stimulating the second, thus entering into resonance with it. If, however, two different sized tuning forks are placed one in front of the other, a resonance effect will be lacking because the second vibrates at a frequency different from that of the first. The aim of bioresonance, according to Paul Schmidt, is to therefore seek and impart, hence to analyze and harmonize matching and therefore beneficial frequencies and frequency spectra. Given the many frequencies around us, one might rightly ask why the frequencies of bioresonance devices are beneficial and those of the electrosmog, for example, are harmful. Therefore, criteria must exist which needs to be observed in order to encourage regulation of the body without causing it any harm. Taking sunlight as an example, several criteria may be determined. On the one hand, it is the duration of the effect of the frequencies on the body. An appropriate period spent in the sun promotes health. If we are out in the sun for longer, we need protection against harm. On the other hand, intensity may be the crucial factor. In technology, one speaks of the so-called amplitude that a vibration possesses. A further criterion is the frequency already mentioned. If we take sunlight and filter out the frequency spectrum of ultraviolet light, tanning will not occur. So the right frequency must be present. The correct shape of the applied vibration, however, also forms part of the biological window. Therefore, rectangular vibrations, triangular vibrations, or pulse-modulated fields, for example, exist and are not beneficial to the body. In contrast, harmonic modes of vibration are useful, which is why only sinusoidal waveforms are employed in bioresonance, according to Paul Schmidt. When the above criteria are fulfilled, one remains within the biological window and can experience a positive influence on the body. The situation is different in our technology-driven world, where the anharmonic vibrations in particular have a destabilizing effect. This is a reason why these vibrations should be avoided, since they also exert their effect within the biological window. The omnipresence of electric and magnetic, in addition to high-frequency and pulsed fields, make it almost impossible for us to live free from electrosmog. Paul Schmidt already recognized at a very early stage that therapy makes little sense if causal factors of this kind are not addressed. Today, bioresonance, according to Paul Schmidt, is taken to mean a method that follows the philosophy of a cause-oriented treatment approach, where there is little point in giving people therapy without reducing the causal stresses. One example, electrosmog is frequently associated with insomnia, fatigue, migraine, or hormone fluctuations. How can one attempt to treat migraine if it is not clear whether the person is subject to electrosmog pollution? A radio alarm clock on a bedside table may, for example, generate a very strong alternating magnetic field. It is only once the causal burden is detected and eliminated that there is hope of sustainable treatment. In accordance with this holistic approach, Rayonex deals intensively with causal influences such as electrosmog, geopathy, overacidification, unbalanced intestinal flora, deficiencies in the vitamin, mineral, and trace element balance, pollutants, detoxification, diet, and many other aspects, and offers corresponding solutions developed based on bioresonance according to Paul Schmidt. The bioresonance devices, according to Paul Schmidt, represent the development platform here in devising energetically optimized products and dietary supplements. Since 1982, Rayonex Biomedical GmbH, with its head office in Lennonstadt in Germany's Sauerland, has been developing, producing, and marketing bioresonance devices according to Paul Schmidt. Two different device classes cover a broad application spectrum in human and veterinary medicine. Firstly, the stationary Rayonex PS1000 Polar High-Med Bioresonance device. This device has been developed for professional therapeutic use and offers comprehensive analysis and harmonization functions, including screen display and possibilities for producing printouts. Secondly, the Rayonex range includes the portable Rayonex PS10. This device is equally suited to new therapists, mobile practices, home therapy patients, or the veterinary sector. The extensive range of accessories such as detectors, test sets, or a treatment chair with optimized frequency transfer aids customized use. A modular software concept for both devices make for optimum and therefore economical application solutions. The modular design also gives the user assurance of being able to include new application areas in the future. If, for instance, a therapist subsequently desires the use of acupuncture in his or her practice, the software module for acupuncture vibration therapy can be activated, retroactively too. Using the acupuncture vibration therapy module, it was not only possible to prove the existence of the meridians which have been known for more than 2,000 years using imaging methods, but also activate them with the Rayonex PS1000 Polar. Here, for example, is the now visible lung meridian. In this manner, Bioresonance According to Paul Schmidt is capable of linking together both Western and traditional Chinese medicine. Owing to the modular software design, users can always ensure the latest version by updates and are therefore not forced to acquire a new generation device after 5 years, for example. Rayonex Bioresonance devices therefore achieve a high level of profitability, retain an equally high market value, and are already a good investment on these grounds alone. Making medicine and alternative medicine-related content usable in a bioresonance device is an extremely demanding and ambitious undertaking. Since nobody in the world can perfectly master every medical discipline, a large number of German and international experts contributed to the new Rayonex analysis and harmonization system, known in short as RAH. The aim was to create an expert system which can be of benefit to all in each of its 1,000-fold tried and tested frequency compilations, also known as RAH programs. Hence, there are experts for RAH energy programs, RAH traditional Chinese medicine programs, for casual influences such as electrosmog, geopathy, supply of vital substances, pollutants and pathogens, in addition to RAH programs for human physiology and pathology. Likewise for animals, psyche, and many others. The RAH is an open expert system, so that new research results can also be included in the future for the good of all. The RAH Green Card was developed specifically for the use of RAH in the Rayonex PS1000 and PS10. Following the test, individual frequency values in addition to matching RAH programs can be saved on the green card so that a patient under home therapy merely needs to insert it in the device. The rest is taken care of automatically. An ideal solution, particularly for elderly people and disabled. The RAH is of modular design too and can be activated through bioresonance devices according to Paul Schmidt, depending on the desired effect of field application. The company buildings, the Sauerland Pyramids in Lennonstadt-Megen, are the prime example that the Rayonex holistic approach is not just theory, but a way of life. Even before construction, fault-free zone sites for the pyramids were sought. The structure was chosen to ensure that only the very minimum electrosmog pollution is present in the pyramids. The lighting conditions inside are almost equivalent to those of natural sunlight. All the Sauerland pyramids are heated geothermically. Solar concepts have been incorporated along with a rainwater collection system. The main pyramid provides sufficient space for the development, production, and sales departments. The somewhat smaller event pyramid is used for training sessions, seminars, lectures, and exhibitions, in addition to training of domestic and foreign study groups. Also held here are the training events for the Rayonex in-house naturopathist school, as well as the apprenticeships for building biology measurement engineers, each with additional training in bioresonance according to Paul Schmidt. The third pyramid houses the Rayonex Therapy Center. Patients can be treated here, and domestic and foreign therapists as well as students of the naturopathist school can sit in. The students of the naturopathist school particularly benefit from the therapy center. All of this allows both theory and practice to be carried out in the Sauerland pyramids. A great start to a successful leap into one's own private therapeutic practice. Rayonex oversees knowledge transfer to the entire world from the Sauerland pyramids. Rayonex maintains contact with direct dialogue partners, initiates information exchanges, and seeks new application areas in conjunction with users. A comprehensive standard reference work on bioresonance according to Paul Schmidt now exists in many languages, representing over more than 500 pages, a guideline for the newcomer and a valuable reference work for all users. With training programs, e-learning, and conferences, Rayonex is always at its users' side. This makes bioresonance according to Paul Schmidt a growing philosophy and body of knowledge that pursues a single aim, offering gentle help by holistic means.